Hi everyone, my name is Lorraine Quadro from the Essence of Breastfeeding, and this is my 7 months old today, little girl Sienna. I just wanted to, I guess I'm mainly speaking to parents that might have just found out that their baby or child needs to have either an MCU or a MAG3 or I think it's a PUC or PVC operation. When I was 36 weeks pregnant, they found that Sienna's right kidney was quite large, and 1 week after she was born we had a follow-up ultrasound which showed that it was still quite large, and we went to see numerous paediatricians in the hope that one of them would tell us we did not have to do an MCU test, but unfortunately they all did ask us to do the test, and so we did do the MCU. We were really scared because we didn't know what to expect, we didn't know how painful it would be, and to look at her, she was and still is a picture of health, so we kind of thought, oh, we're taking our healthy baby to have this test that's going to introduce bacteria, do we really need to do it, and could we wait and just have more ultrasounds? We ended up doing the test when she was about 3 months old. And it was, what they did was they got a catheter and went into her bladder up through the urethra. They put some dye into her bladder and then did constant x-ray imaging to see where the dye went, because they suspected she might have kidney reflux. Our personal experience of the test was, it was horrible. She had an empty bladder when we went in, and so when they put the catheter in, they kept having to reinsert it. So I think had she had a full bladder when we went in, it probably would have been a different story. But we did the test. I think it was probably just more that she had to stay still that was worrying her than I don't think she was in any real pain. So it was probably a bit more distressing for us than for her. Anyway, the test showed that she did have a grade 3 kidney reflux, which helped us to justify doing the test in the first place, because I think that was the hardest part, was trying to decide if we should do the test. And she was put on antibiotics. Now, we then did a follow-up ultrasound probably just before she was 6 months old, and it showed that her right kidney was still quite large, so our paediatrician asked us to have a MAG3 test. And what they did with the MAG3 was they injected some radioactive solution into her vein, and again just took images to see where the radioactivity went, and I guess it showed them her kidney function in a much more detailed way than the MCU did. And that revealed that there was a block in the tube. And with that test, it wasn't that distressing. It wasn't as distressing as I thought it would be. She just pretty much cried when they put the needle in, and then after that she was okay. She was just wrapped. They wrapped her tightly. We were allowed to stay with her as we were in the MCU. And they took some pictures, probably lasted about 20 minutes. We had to go back in 20 minutes later for another 5-minute follow-up. And that was it. So that test wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And what that showed was that there was a blockage in the little tube coming out of her kidney, and so that explained why her right kidney was so large. And it also showed that she'd lost a lot of kidney function in the right kidney. So we ended up having to operate, and what they did was they cut part of the top of her kidney out and have unblocked the little pipe, and they've now left a tube in her going from her kidney down to her bladder, so that while she heals, the urine isn't going to spill out into her wounds. So she actually had that done, the operation done on Saturday, and today's now Tuesday, and pretty much from Sunday afternoon she was like this. So happy, chatty, back to her usual self. You couldn't even tell that she'd had anything done apart from there being stitches on her back here, which doesn't seem to worry her too much. So if you know you've just been told that your precious little one has to have the MCU or MAG3 test done, if you're anything like I was, you're probably wanting to avoid the tests altogether, probably wondering if they really need to have them done. for me personally, I'm grateful that we did, only because it did show that there was a problem, and like I said, to see her, we never would have picked up that there was anything wrong with her kidneys otherwise. So I'm grateful that we did go through the tests, because now she's had the operation, and she's got to have another follow-up operation in 4 weeks to take the little plastic piping out. That should just be a simple 15-minute operation, and then she'll have another MAG3 and ultrasounds and another MCU when she's about 18 months old, to just make sure that everything's gone to plan and that the operation was successful and that the reflux is gone. So yeah, so I hope that reassures you if your little one's facing, or if you're facing similar news to what we had. We were petrified, but I guess at some point we realised that we couldn't control this, and that we just had to support her as best as we could. So yeah, I just wanted to reassure you that the tests weren't as horrible as I thought that they would be, and she pretty much got over them straight away. She was smiling and laughing at the doctors as soon as they let her come back into my arms. So yeah, so it was all good. So thank you. If you want more information, you can look at my website. It is mainly a breastfeeding website, it's theessenceofbreastfeeding.com. I'd love you to put your comments and any feedback on the bottom of this clip, so that I can see what you're thinking, and if there's any other information that you'd like me to provide, please let me know as well. Thank you.